This is Nathan Fantasy Football League Updates. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas and Happy Championship Week. Today, we are going to unveil the semifinal results and predict the championship round. We're going to get you the winner and losers of the league. All that and more on a very merry episode of Nathan Fantasy Football League Updates.
Nathan, Fantasy Football League Updates. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and welcome back. We have finished the semifinal round of the playoffs, and we have this year's 2024 finals matchup set. So let's waste no more time and find out who will be playing in the championship round. It was an exciting week all the way around. We had officially 3-2 record overall, so we'll find out which ones I got right or wrong, but let's waste no more time getting right into the losers bracket, and we start with the two teams that lost their first matchup in the losers bracket. It's the Zestmeisters taking on the Grand Rapids Groundhogs in what was honestly one of the best matchups of the entire tournament, and it was a 5-point victory for the Zestmeisters as they get a 176-171 victory over the Groundhogs, who will now head to the final losers bracket game to possibly do the final punishment this season, while the Zestmeisters avoid the final challenge. But let's look at this one for the Zestmeisters. They got a huge game from Lamar Jackson, who scored 20 fantasy points, 32 from Chuba Hubbard. Kenneth Walker, welcome back to the lineup. He played okay. George Kittle got you 18, and Keenan Allen showed up. He keeps finding ways to contribute. 29 fantasy points for him. Big miss off the bench, David Njoku with 14 is technically a miss. And then on the other side for the Groundhogs, how about the quarterback play was excellent. 34 from Jaden Daniels, 22 from Sam Darnold, 31 from Devon Achane, and 27 from James Cook, but the rest of the lineup really let you down. Your wide receivers, Marvin Harrison only getting 7, Cooper Kupp following up his donut with a 5-point performance. So the big miss off the bench was Darnell Mooney with 13 and Wan'Dale Robinson with 13 fantasy points. So we'll see the Zestmeisters in the consolation side of the bracket and the Groundhogs fighting to avoid another punishment. So we move on to matchup number 2, and it saw the Guantanamo Bay Flying Squirrels take on the Empire Strikes Back for the battle for Shelley's Fork, and for a 9th straight time, the Empire Strikes Back takes down the Guantanamo Bay Flying Squirrels 190-142. And this one, Jared Goff led the way for the Empire with 25, Baker Mayfield chipped in 22, and Saquon Barkley added 27, with Jay Jettis having his best performance of the year with 36, and Brian Thomas Jr. continuing to break out with 28. Big miss off the bench, though. Tank Dell, hope he gets better, though. He did get 21, but is done for the year. On the other side, for the Flying Squirrels, quarterback play, again, was great. Justin Herbert, 22. Caleb Williams, 22. James Conner with 26. And 19 from Amon-Ra. Titans defense, though, with -5. And then Xavier Worthy was the big miss off the bench with 20 fantasy points. And Jalen McMillan added 16. So another just tough loss there for the Flying Squirrels. They're going to take on the Groundhogs in that final matchup. Well, the Empire Strikes Back will take on the Zestmeisters again, so we have a repeat of round 1 to avoid the punishment. So we'll be interested to see how those play out. And then we move to our consolation game, which means absolutely nothing. The battle of the top scorers. The Iguanas took on the Bandicoots, and this round, the Bandicoots won 151-141. Another great matchup between these two squads. You look at the numbers. Jalen Hurts left this game early. He could have made a bigger difference. He only added 4, but Joe Burrow added 21, Bucky Irving 18, 19 from T. Higgins, and 20 from Brock Bowers. Big miss off the bench, though. Gus Edwards with 20 fantasy points. For the Bandicoots, how about 20 for Kyler Murray, 24 from Bijan Robinson, 19 from Kyler Williams and Devontae Adams, and Jamar Chase adding 22. Big miss off the bench, though, Geno Smith with 21 and Jackson Smith-Njigba with 24 fantasy points. So, again, a great matchup there in the consolation, but it doesn't mean anything. Let's get to the games that mean something. And we'll start with the 1 and 5 matchup. The Michigan Avengers trying to go back-to-back. The Rough Riders trying to get to the championship for the first time, riding the back of their defense. Well, the best defense is a good offense, and the Avengers showed that, winning 171-101 over the 1 seed in upset fashion. Let's take a quick look for the Avengers. How about Patrick Mahomes? 23 fantasy points. Jahmyr Gibbs as the lone back in Detroit, 25. 17 from the Bengals defense and 21 from Brandon Aubrey. How about every player in double digits for you? Biggest piece missing off the bench, the biggest miscue on the bench, 17 fantasy points from Drake May. And for the Rough Riders, Josh Allen, only 11, so big miss there. 21 from Bo Nix, though. And then everybody else did not help out at all. Jared Jeudy only got you 4. Joe Mixon only 8. And you got -2 from the 49ers defense. Big miss off the bench, 20 from Anthony Richardson. And really 13 from the Bills defense, 12 from Javonte Williams, 13 from Mac Jones. So the Rough Riders season comes to a close. They'll battle in the 3rd place game, while the Avengers now have a chance, like their leader, Patrick Mahomes, to go back-to-back. Who will meet them there? Let's get into that matchup. It's the 6-seeded Bay City Bunnies taking on the 2-seeded Bowling Green Cave Shrimp. This one was an excellent matchup. Came down to the wire. First for the Bay City Bunnies, they got 16 from CJ Stroud, 20 from Derrick Henry, 23 from AJ Brown, and 17 from Terry McLaurin, and 26 from the Falcons defense. Big miss off the bench for them was Jerome Ford. And then on the other side, Brock Purdy chipped in 21. Jonathan Taylor, the top scorer of the week, the 1st-round pick for the Bowling Green Cave Shrimp, notched 39 in this victory after Josh Jacobs scored 20 fantasy points and the Packers defense on Monday night added 15 to complete the comeback and win 165-156 over the Bay City Bunnies, ending the 2-game playoff losing streak to the Bunnies and sending the Cave Shrimp back to the championship game for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. They get a huge win. They did miss Jamison Williams with 26 on their bench. Deebo Samuel breaking out of his slump with 25. Kareem Hunt with 15. All on the bench. But thank you, Jonathan Taylor, for the Christmas miracle, and Josh Jacobs for getting it done. Running backs come up clutch, and it'll be Cave Shrimp Avengers, a rematch from last year's championship. And let's get right into my predictions for that one. Here we go. The moment we have all been waiting for, the 2024 championship round. Let's first cruise through the 2 consolation games. We'll start Zestmeisters and Empire. This is a rematch from round 1 in the playoffs where the Empire won. And I think, the Empire will probably get a great game from Baker Mayfield. Saquon Barkley's going to do his job again. Justin Jefferson and Puka will be great. And Brian Thomas Jr. is going to continue to break out. The Empire, honestly, have hit an incredible stride, scoring 140+ the last 6 weeks. They are on fire. If they were in the playoffs, they probably would have made a push to the championship round because they just heated up to end the season. So if they didn't have that beginning tough stretch, this is a really scary playoff team. This could be a championship team right here. So it's tough to see them not make it in. This is the stuff we were talking about at the beginning of the year. And while the Zestmeisters surprised us all, Lamar Jackson, I think, is going to have a pretty good game this week. Kenneth Walker is going to play well against the Bears. Chuba Hubbard has another good week. And how about Keenan Allen staying well and healthy and playing well? And George Kittle as well. But in a 10+ point spread, don't mess with the Empire. I'm taking them to end on a massive winning streak to kind of be like, hey, maybe we should have gotten in the playoffs, because they're playing like one of the best teams in the league during these final few weeks, even though they're not in the playoffs. So give me the Empire to finish on a high note, hopefully to carry over next season in the consolation side. Continuing on with that trend, we're going to go to Iguanas and Bandicoots, another consolation game, a rematch from last week where the Bandicoots won by 10. I think this week, the Iguanas are hoping Jalen Hurts is healthy. If he's healthy, I think they get 20-plus performances from him and Joe Burrow. I think, Bucky Irving continues to play well. T. Higgins plays well. Brock Bowers has a big game. On the other side, the Bandicoots get a pretty good game from Bijan and Kyron. Hopefully, the quarterback plays solid. I think Jordan Love will play serviceable, and Kyler Murray as well. I think Devontae Adams continues on the 20-plus trend he's been on, and Jamar Chase has a monster game against Denver, despite Pat Surtain guarding him. And then Jackson Smith-Njigba, welcome to the lineup. I'm going to take Smith-Njigba to have a big game and continue on. He's been a bench warmer most of the season. He has a big game to end the season for the Bandicoots in the consolation. But in a 4-point spread, I'm taking the Iguanas. If Jalen Hurts is healthy, give me the Iguanas to split the consolation series versus the Bandicoots. They'll go 1-1. The Iguanas get the final win of their season that, they just came up on short on. Now we move to kind of the games that matter. We'll start with the third place game. It's Bunnies. It's the Rough Riders. Both teams obviously saw their season end. The Bunnies in heartbreaking fashion. The Rough Riders in fashion defensively that didn't work for them. Should be a fun matchup. I think Josh Allen bounces back for the Rough Riders. Bo Nix plays really well again this week. I think they get a great performance from Joe Mixon, who's kind of been up and down the past couple of weeks. Jerry Jeudy gets back on track, and Devontae Smith bounces back from that embarrassing drop. On the other side, the Bunnies, C.J. Stroud plays very mid again. Remember when he was the top quarterback drafted in the draft? Nuts. Derrick Henry plays well. Aaron Jones plays serviceable against his former team. But the wide receivers, A.J. Brown and Terry McLaurin, have a good game, and Sam Laporta continues to stay on track. This is the Sam Laporta we kind of expected. We didn't get at the beginning of the season. We're getting it near the tail end, though. But in a 4-point spread, I'm taking the Rocky River Rough Riders to finish out in third place this season. I think they get a better game from Josh Allen, which helps them a little bit more, especially with that 5-point advantage. So give me the Rocky River Rough Riders to take down the Bay City Bunnies in the third place game. So now we move to the losers finale. Groundhogs. Flying Squirrels. I know the Flying Squirrels got the win earlier this playoff, but we'll see how this pans out. The matchups for the Flying Squirrels are there. I think Caleb Williams has a good game against Seattle. Justin Herbert dominates New England. I'm talking 20-plus performance. The running back tandem, James Connors, if he's healthy, and Chase Brown both play really well, and Amon-Ra St. Brown continues to heat up before the playoffs. Now, towards the tight end flex position and wide receiver too, I think they all kind of play serviceable. We'll see how that pans out. For the Groundhogs, I think the quarterback play stays consistent. Jaden Daniels has a huge game against Atlanta. Sam Darnold plays well again against the Vikings. Devon Achane and James Cook continue to play awesome. The wide receivers will play serviceable in Marvin Harrison Jr. and Cooper Kupp. Jonnu Smith continues to dominate at the tight end position. But in a 7-point spread, to avoid the challenge, give me the Grand Rapids Groundhogs to avoid doing the 70 hot dogs in 7 days challenge. The Flying Squirrels, both of their managers, will be doing the hot dog challenge. In my opinion, they will fall to the Grand Rapids Groundhogs in the final week of the season. Now we move to the Big Kahuna, the game that matters. The championship ring is on the line, and it's a rematch of the 2023 championship. Avengers, Cave Shrimp. Now, if you remember, last year, it was the Michigan Avengers taking this one over the Cave Shrimp in pretty dominant fashion, and that marked 3 out of the 4 years the Cave Shrimp have been to the championship. They have finished second place every single year. Can they break the curse this year? Third time's the charm, right? They broke the Bunnies' curse with losing in the playoffs. They have gone through that huge 6-game winning streak. They have overcome injury adversities. Can the Cave Shrimp get it done? Or is it the Avengers' time to go back-to-back? The first ever 2-time champ, and they do it in back-to-back fashion. Well, should be a fun one. Avengers, I think, get another good game out of Mahomes. On Christmas, I think Jahmyr Gibbs has another 20-plus performance as the lone back in Detroit. Breece Hall plays well. Mike Evans goes above 20 because he has to hit that 1,000-yard season. I think Mark Andrews, he's scored in the last 4 games. Make it 5. He scores against the Houston Texans. He plays serviceable. DK Metcalf has a huge game against the Chicago Bears. And on the other side for the Cave Shrimp, Jonathan Taylor against the Giants. We saw what he did in a monster win over the Titans. I think he goes above 20 with another big game against the New York Giants. Josh Jacobs continues to go over 20 against the Minnesota Vikings. Garrett Wilson, Khalil Shakir bounces back and plays serviceable. Trey McBride gets into the end zone. He plays well. I think the quarterback play is serviceable this week from Purdy and Russell Wilson. So, can the Cave Shrimp break the curse and finish with not a second place? Can the Avengers go back to back? Can they be the first team to do it? Well, in a 5-point spread to win it all, the 2024 championship, I'm taking the Michigan Avengers to go back to back, led by Patrick Mahomes and Jahmyr Gibbs. They have the matchups. Compared to the Cave Shrimp, they've got some tough matchups ahead this week. It's a bad playoff matchup round, championship round. But for the Avengers, they've got the matchups. They've got the personnel. They got hot in the right time in the playoffs. And I am crowning the Michigan Avengers, my prediction, the 2024 champions in back-to-back seasons against the Cave Shrimp, back-to-back. It feels like Chiefs 49ers once again. It's a Christmas miracle for the 5-seeded Michigan Avengers, who, if we went by points for, technically would have been left out of the playoffs for the Zestmeisters. But here they are, making it into the championship. That is my prediction. Avengers, your 2024 champions, and the Flying Squirrels, your 2024 losers. Let me know in the comments below. Who are you rooting for in this championship game, in the 2023 rematch? Let me know. Let me know what you wanted for the holidays. Let me know what would, make your Christmas great. Who do you need to score high? Who do you need to score low? Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Next week, we will recap what went down in this week. Who is our actual champion and our actual loser? And we will, sooner rather than later, get you our 2024 season awards. Best of luck. Enjoy the holidays, and we wish your fantasy team in the championship round good luck. Have a great Christmas, and Merry Christmas to all.